Let's go ahead now and bring in Marc Thiessen, former chief speechwriter for President George W. Bush. He's now an American Enterprise Institute senior fellow. We've also got Washington Post columnist. Let's not.
I got a lot of jobs.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track with everybody. We also have Richard Fowler. He is host of the Fowler Show. Both are Fox News contributors. Thank you guys for being here on a Friday. Sorry, it's morbid news we're talking about today. Yeah. Let's start here, Mark. Biden admittedly has, in the last few months, been starting to take some steps to, his administration says, tamp down on the border. Obviously, critics say it's way too little, too late. The ship sailed years ago.
Yeah, so, I mean, Joe Biden has broken the record for illegal entries into the country every single year of his presidency. We are now at almost 10 million people that have entered the country, either crossing the border and turning themselves in and then getting released into the country, or 1.5 million of those are gotaways. And the person who killed Rachel Morin, this mother, was a gotaway. I'm sorry, but it's a little bit late to be turning around and doing this. But it shows, the fact that he's taking some executive action shows he could have been doing this from the very beginning, because he has the same laws on the books that he can use to control the border, not only as Donald Trump had, but as Barack Obama had. You know, people forget, he didn't just roll back Donald Trump's immigration policies, border policies. He rolled back Barack Obama's policies. Barack Obama was excoriated by the left as the deporter-in-chief because he deported a record 3 million people. Joe Biden's, the deportations have dropped to almost nothing. So he ought to reinstate Barack Obama's border policies, and we'd be better off than we are today. Richard,
I guess on the sort of flip side of this coin, a lot of Republicans now are lining up behind former President Trump, who says he's gearing up to institute mass-scale deportations of millions of people. Do you think that's the answer?
Well, first, my heart goes out to these two families and all the families that have been victims of these type of crimes, because they're very heinous and they're infuriating as Americans to see these crimes happen. A couple of days ago, Governor Westmore was on with our own Brian Kilmeade, and he talked about how infuriated he was because one of these crimes happened in his state, and how he was infuriated for this mother of 5, and now he wants something done. And what he pointed to was something I think we don't do enough in this city. Because we're in this election phase, we're quick to point to, it was this person's fault and it's that person's fault. But there's a lack of courage in this city overall when it comes to getting real immigration work done.
Washington.
In Washington, D.C. This is where we are right now, right? But I think, because, listen, we can continue to rule by executive order, which is what we've done for the past couple of presidencies. Barack Obama had EOs, then Donald Trump had EOs, now Joe Biden has passed some EOs. But we all know, but both Mark, we know that EOs do not, there's not money attached to EOs, there's not personnel attached to EOs, there's not new spending attached to EOs. These are Band-Aids to bullet wounds. If we really want to fix the problem with our immigration, it requires Congress to actually get some work done to, 1, secure the border, 2, modernize our system, and 3, ensure that these folks will never cross. It's not a wall by itself, but it's also, if we're going to do mass deportations, as Donald Trump is advocating for, where are the planes going to come from? You have to pay for those planes. You have to pay for the personnel to man those planes. All that requires congressional action, which means Congress needs to get to work and get something done, whether they're Democrats or Republicans.
I have to tell you that Mark has been vehemently shaking his head ever since he started talking.
Surprised that I'm disagreeing with it.
It doesn't change the facts.
Well, it does change the facts, because your facts are wrong. Congress does not have to. The president has all the authority he needs to shut down the border tomorrow. In Trump versus Hawaii, the Supreme Court ruled that the president has unlimited authority to bar any alien from entering the country
but
that he wants to.
But authority is not your problem. It's resources.
No, I'm sorry. If he wants to just pass border funding, the Congress will pass it tomorrow.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is. If it's just pure border funding.
That is actually not true.
It is actually true.
But Mark, this is where I have to stop you, because Senator Langford and Kristen Sinema
that wasn't border funding.
No, they put forward the most conservative border bill that we've seen in decades.
It was a terrible border bill that would have tied the hands of Donald Trump when he came in.
Yes, exactly. It would tie the. You said the quiet part out loud. It would have tied the hands of Donald Trump instead of. But it would have also secured the border. It would have hired more immigration judges. It would have purchased more planes for us to deport folks who are illegally here, and it would have also secured the border. I've read the bill. I know what's in it.
I've read the bill too.
And I know what's in it.
I'm sorry, you're wrong.
I am not wrong.
You're 100% wrong. The president right now has unlimited authority held by the Supreme Court to prevent anyone from entering into the country. This bill would have put restrictions on how many people, at what point, how many thousands of people were crossing the border before he could. It would have tied the hands of the next president. If you just want to put a bill adding more agents, adding more funding to deport people.
That was in that bill.
But along with restrictions of the president's power.
I think realistically here need both, right? If the president took maximum executive action tomorrow to shut down the border, as you said, Congress would eventually have to subsidize the policies.
That's not the
in order
problem.
for
There's
them
no
to be...
disagreement with Republicans on funding border security. What they disagree with is all the parts of the bill that would have restricted the president's ability to shut down the border.
There is disagreement with Democrats about the funding.
Well, look,
Yeah, the Democrats are against the funding.
Democrats are
So
not gonna
talk
cut
to
a
your own
link
side,
out.
Richard.
Democrats are willing to vote for the bill that Senator Langford put forward, but it's also worth pointing out here that the border is 5,000 miles. It's 5,000 miles. So the ideal of saying we're going to shut down the border, even though the border is not contiguous, not one wall is going to do it, you're going to need funding from Congress to get it done. Republicans in this moment are unwilling to do it because Mark said they are worried about Donald Trump.
That's not what I said.
You sure did.
It's not what I said.
I appreciate both of you getting into it. It's probably top 3 issues we're talking about this election cycle, so we're going to keep going, but we got to leave this segment here for today. Thank you both so much.
Good to see you.
You too.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.